How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Story of the Fight. This is Romero, as always, but with me today, special guest host, Landry Lone Star Kid Ward, lightweight fighter fighting out of Killcliff FC, LSK, man. How have you been?
Been good, man. Just getting after it now, trying to try this podcast co-hosting thing out. See if we start a new venture here.
Let's go, man. So for anybody logging on, Will actually traveled out to Colorado to catch the one fight night live. So he decided to ditch your boys over here. But no need to worry. Some would say we upgraded and we got LSK in here, so we're good. But yes, please follow Landry Ward on YouTube, Instagram. I believe it's at Lone Star Kid MMA. Also has LoneStarKid.com. You could get all his awesome gear on there. Yeah, look, he's sporting. What is that? A nice. Got some hats in the background.
Yeah, Adidas pullover. We'll call it a Lone Star Kid pullover, though.
I like it. So, man, we got a lot of fights to cover, Landry. We had UFC 288, right, with a much anticipated return of Henry Cejudo. We also had one Fight Night 10 that went down Friday. Canelo boxed last night too. Did you watch a boxing match at all?
I did not. I'm gonna be honest.
I didn't either.
Yesterday was a long day for me.
Oh yeah,
I was having trouble making it through the UFC fights. To be honest, yes, I had a very long day of travel trying to get back to Texas yesterday.
Okay, so you're back in Texas right now, hanging out with the fam.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
had
awesome.
A few days, come back to the fam, try to make some business moves, talk to some sponsors. Think we got something good in the works for July. So
okay,
should have some good news soon. Just waiting to get everything ironed out.
Well, if there's another viewing party, you know I'll be there, man. I'll go join this one for sure.
Hey, even better, you can be there live for this one.
Oh, dude, oh Lord. All right, I'll take it. You know, enough said. I'm trying to read between the lines right now, but hey, we can go and get started, man. So we had last night UFC 288, Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. Again, Cejudo had been yapping about a possible comeback, seeing a bunch of holes in this current champion's game, and that would be an easy dub for him. Dude, please break it down for me. What were your thoughts? What did you see?
On paper and before the fight, I thought it was going to be an easy fight for Cejudo too. Sterling's he's so like crazy with everything he does that it doesn't look like real technical or real high level, but he's so good when he gets you to certain positions at making the fight his fight. But yeah, his entries, the takedowns, his striking, nothing looks great. But when he gets a hold of you, you know, he has the size and the strength, especially on Cejudo. He had him good. I didn't see the numbers, but it had to be
7-inch reach advantage.
Yeah, and I imagine the walk around weight. I know Cejudo got a little chubby, but Sterling's got to outweigh him by like at least 10 pounds too. But when he gets in those grappling scenarios, he's really strong and educated there, and he just uses his striking as crazy striking to open up getting to those grappling situations. But he surprised me last night. He was able to do more than I thought he would be able to with Cejudo.
And he surprised Cejudo too, because at the end, you know, they're like, what did he do that surprised you? And he said, man, he's a lot tougher than I thought he was going to be. There was a lot of holes that I saw in his game that made me think this was going to be an easier fight, but he's tough everywhere is what he said. So Cejudo was caught off guard too by what Aljamain Sterling was able to bring.
He has a crazy pace. Sterling's pace, he'll just stay in your face, throwing stuff at you and make you make a mistake.
Yeah, hey, shout out Will, by the way. He says your boy's just sitting on the runway for the foreseeable future. Thanks, LSK.
And yeah, I went through some airport problems yesterday too. I feel you.
It's happening, man. It's happening. But so I went through it and I watched it again this morning. So I watched last night. Like you said, it was a little tough for our time over here. What was it, like 12:30 when the fight finally ended? So it was past midnight. I'm old already. I can't hang. So I was starting to fall asleep. This morning I watched it again. Did you score it? Did you try scoring it yourself?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch it too. I didn't watch it on my laptop, so I wasn't able to watch it a second time. So I want to go back and sit down and break it down and go round by round. But I know it was really close.
Yeah,
So
and if anybody would be able to break it down, it's you, because those YouTube videos you've been putting out with those breakdowns have been money.
Appreciate you. Yeah. I've been thinking of some content to drop, and I was like, what do I love to do and what do I do every day? Fighting. Why not give my thoughts on it? So yeah, I appreciate that. I will definitely go back and break this one down.
It'll be a good one, man. And especially with how close it was. So I just went through and took some notes. So first round, Cejudo had a hard time finding the range. The very first round, you could tell he was having a really hard time closing that distance. And then there was a takedown by Cejudo early, didn't do much. Takedown by Aljo around the end of the round, takes his back. So when you're thinking about the judges, that's probably the last thing that sticks with them, right? In that first round, a more dominant position, being able to take Cejudo's back. So I edged that one out to Sterling. And with you, how many people do you usually have in your corner?
Usually two.
Usually two. So in this one with championship fights in UFC, I believe they can have up to 5 people, if I remember correctly. And man, all I can think about going from the first round to the second round, you have Merab yelling stuff at Aljo. You had Ray Longo yelling stuff at Aljo. And you had Matt Serra going nuts, Matt Serra style. And I was like, man, how chaotic is that? But he seemed like he was totally fine with it. It was nuts.
That's a lot. That's a lot to take in, let alone all that screaming instructions, and you got a crazy crowd chanting and going wild too. So you got to be able to lock in at those times and hear what you need to hear. But he's a champion for a reason. So when you're at that level and you've experienced it that much, you break it down and you know exactly what you need to hear and let that get to you.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. Second and third round, those were, I thought they could go either way. Second and third round were super close. Fourth round, I gave it a Sterling. Fifth round, gave it a Cejudo. So I could see how somebody gives it, to Cejudo, another person gives it to Aljo. It was so close.
You said you gave Sterling the fourth round?
I gave Sterling the fourth round. I gave Sterling the fourth and Cejudo the fifth.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw did you see the scorecards? They said Derek clearly was the only one to give Cejudo or give Sterling the fifth round, and that decided the fight.
Woo. Wow. Yeah. That's a tough one. In the fifth round, I don't know.
I asked about the fourth round because Cejudo's coach said he won 2, 4, and 5, and that's a fair, for I don't might be biased, but for him to give 3 and not more than that, I'm like, I wonder what he saw in the fourth round to give it to him.
And I think it was going into the third round too, where the announcer said, "Hey, Cejudo's corner told him that he's up 2 rounds to 1 right now." And I was like, "Man, these rounds have been super close, dude. I don't know how."
Not a fight that you can tell him
And you're biased. If you're in Cejudo's corner,
I want to say, was it after? No, I remember after the third round. I heard what's it? Eric, I don't remember his last name, Captain America, whatever you want to call him. He was saying, he was like, you got to get these last 2. He was like, you have to win these last 2.
Yeah.
I remember hearing him saying that. So that's that's what you need to be telling in a fight that close. Like you have to. There's no taking a round off or anything. Like you got to go get it. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of what had me confused about Aljo, because he had been doing a pretty good job pressuring. I felt like he had a really fast start, first and second round, and in the fifth round,
he usually comes out like that too. He comes out hot.
Yeah, in the fifth round, he was coasting a little bit, so I don't know if he felt in his eyes like he had done enough to win the fight so far, And Cejudo came out pressuring a lot more. He knew he probably needed the last round. Had Aljo on his back foot. And yeah, so for me, it almost seemed like Aljo took a little bit off there.
He kind of gasses too, because that happened in his second fight with Jan as well. He lost the fifth round to Jan. Yes, I won't say gasses because he's still keeping a high pace in a freaking 25-minute fight. But yeah, usually towards the end, he comes out so hot, he doesn't save anything for that last, because I remember he lost the 5th round in the Jan fight pretty badly too.
Yeah. I mean, dude, again, look at his frame, man. For bantamweight, I don't know what the weight cut looks like, the weight cut, but it must be.
I mean, I see him posting pictures like at 168, 170, freaking outside of fight camp. So that's a lot of weight to get down from.
Yeah. I wonder how much that has an impact.
Yeah, to keep the pace that he keeps, cutting that much weight, that's a feat in itself.
Yeah, but hey, props to Aljo, man. Because after his very first win against Xian, after the illegal knee, and he's celebrating out there with the belt, and kind of took on the role of a heel a little bit, because everybody was kind of talking about the actor thing, and a lot of people weren't really giving him his dues. Yeah. And he's going out there and he's earning it now.
Yeah, people are doubting him, and he's proving them wrong. So definitely props to him.
All right. So for Aljo, I think they're saying one more fight, and then he wants to move up and try to take the featherweight title. Merab will be able to swoop in after that and try to fight for the bantamweight title. Did you see all that drama?
I didn't. I don't know. I didn't hear any audio or anything from it, but I saw the clips of O'Malley going in and the altercation. I would love to hear the audio. I need to hear that.
Yeah, it was
Rob taking the jacket.
That was hilarious. Also, you know what, O'Malley, it's kind of your fault, bro, because you take the jacket off and he kind of just like hands it off, and Rob's like, "All right," and he just grabs it and starts throwing it on.
Did you see what he put on social media, O'Malley? He was like, "I thought I was giving my jacket to my coat boy."
That is so funny, man.
That's a good way to turn it in your favor. Make a joke like that.
We got O'Malley. They're saying September now. O'Malley versus Aljo. That's an interesting matchup, right? For me, Aljo, I mean, we saw what his grappling could do, what his wrestling can do up against Cejudo, who a lot of people consider to have some of the best grappling in all of MMA. So how do you see that fight going down?
Yeah, that'll be a very interesting contrast to styles. Both are probably close to the same length. Sterling's a pretty tall dude. I know O'Malley probably have him by a little bit. It'll just be if he can keep his range and keep his strikes on him, keep him at bay with his push kicks and his long punches. That's hard. Probably lean Sterling. I'm sure Sterling will come out heavy favorite for that one. But I am an O'Malley fan, I will say.
Yeah.
He's entertaining. He's fun to watch. So, it would be fun.
Entertaining.
It would be good for the sport and fun for the sport if he was to go get a win, but that's a tough task for him. Sterling showed that he's a dog in grappling. Good grappler against a good striker. Usually the grappler is the one that comes out on top, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Omar coming through. What's up, Omar? Thanks for joining us. Hold on, Merab. Let me take all the money fights before you can fight for that belt. I mean, that's what it seems like, right?
Well, Merab is so happy to do it. Merab's just like, he's just happy to be there and support Aljo. He's a good friend. So
that might be one of the best bromance in all of MMA. They love it. They love each other. Omar saying Rob can't take the title, but he can take the jacket. That's hilarious. He can keep it.
Next best thing, the O'Malley jacket.
Yeah, just frames it, puts it up on the wall. All right. Well, that's all I got for the main event. Did you have anything else, Landry?
No, I'm excited to go back and break down the situations, though. Yeah. I hate to come in sort of unprepared. I did watch it. I just couldn't go back and get a second deep dive on it.
No, you're good, man. You're good. It's always nice to get a true fighter's perspective. Not that, Will doesn't fight in his spare time, but his is a little bit different. You know what I mean? He is in jiu-jitsu and does other things like that. But to have a professional fighter on here breaking it down with us, man, it helps out a lot. Yeah. All right, the next one, co-main event, might have been a little painful for you.
We're going to skip past it. No. Yeah. That was tough. I didn't like to see that. Gilbert's a really good dude, around him day in and day out, hard worker, sets a really good example for everybody in the gym. So see him take one like that was tough, but, that's the sport. We were actually in the locker room a few days before he left talking. He was just like, I'm gonna control my destiny. I didn't want to, like he said in interviews, I didn't want to sit out, let Leon and Colby fight in October and somebody get a win or have a good performance and jump the line on him. So I'm going to take the gamble on myself and, go try to put on a good fight. And I was like, what else can you do? You want to control your own fate, and you're not a guy who's going to look back on it, on his career and on his life when he's older, like, man, I wish I would have done this. Like, you took a gamble on yourself, you went and did it, so you're going to be happy down in the future either way.
Yeah, man. I watching this fight, all I was thinking about was you two, and thinking about like, man, this must be tough for LSK to watch, because he does seem like he's a leader within Kill Cliff as well. You being there on a regular basis, I'm sure almost every day you see that. And something I wanted to call out here with Burns. So 3 pay-per-view fights in 106 days. Talk about active. UFC 283 against Neil Magny. UFC 287 against Masvidal. Now UFC 288. So from 287 to 288, that is a lot to take on for anybody.
Yeah.
That's
a lot. He's a grinder too. He's always in the gym pushing. So, his body's going through it. I want to know what happened. I was with his shoulder. I don't know if something happened like before or if something happened during, but it was clear that after that takedown attempt he had in the first round, his shoulder, he was just like shaking it out, like, where are you?
Yeah. And it was weird that Belal didn't pick up on it until he said the 4th round. His coach called it out, and he's like, hey, he's been shaking his arm out, and he hasn't really used it. And Belal's like, well, that's when I started going a little bit heavier on that side. But it's like, dude, that happened, I think, after the first round.
Yeah, it looked like it was the first round. It just like was shaking it. I think Henry told them, like, just forget about it. He was like, work through it. He was screaming that in the corner, work through it. So yeah. Wonder what happened. I mean, props to Belal for him to keep that pace. Like, his pace was insane for 5 rounds and coming off Ramadan and short notice call too. So that's props to him for that.
Yeah, and shout out to CMT Fluxicity. I feel takedown defense and grappling defense is evolving. Back in the day when people got someone down, the person on bottom would usually be controlled and be a stalemate down there. These days, people just get up. What are your thoughts on that, Landry?
Yeah, everything's evolving. I think that it's so clear that wrestling and grappling is like a huge advantage in fighting, that if people have a little bit of striking, that they hammer their takedown defense and their get-ups from bottom. And I mean, I can tell you personally, I work on that a lot. So, yeah, I just think that is such a huge aspect of fighting. Judges will give a fight to somebody who's on their back, or will give a round to anybody who's on top, controlling somebody on their back. Never want to be on your back in a fight. So that's a huge aspect of fighting that people focus on.
Good call, man. Good call. All right. And right here in the picture that Rich just put up, thanks, Rich. So for anybody that's listening and not necessarily watching on YouTube, if you watch on YouTube, you actually get to see the pictures that we post as well. And it's a picture of Belal that's landing that left body kick. And that was one of the stories of the fight the entire time, because even when he wasn't landing it directly on the body, it was landing right on the shoulder as Gilbert was blocking. Yeah. And you could see his arm start kind of turning dark red, right, as the night continued.
Yeah, I specifically remember one of the kicks he blocked, and as soon as he blocked it, he gave his arm a little rollout, like, ooh, that one wasn't good. So.
Yeah, and it was continuous all night. I don't know how many times he threw that left body kick, and like I said, in the late 4th round, he started switching over and throwing a right body kick once he figured out that Burns' left shoulder was on the struggle bus. So. Omar says, Dr. Rogan said on the broadcast Burns messed up his shoulder during the takedown attempt in the first round.
Yeah, it could have been I remember seeing him, he went for it, and when Belal popped his hips back, his left arm planted on the mat. So I probably could have jolted something up.
Man.
But yeah.
But a rough night. Durinho, right? They were talking about how it translates to tough. And he showed it, man, because if he jammed that shoulder, dislocated that shoulder in the first round and went an entire 5 rounds against Belal Muhammad, says a lot about the guy, man, in his heart.
Yeah, that dude's a dog.
Belal, jab was on point too. Constant stance switching. You know, do you feel like that kind of had anything to do with slowing down Dudinho a little bit?
Yeah, dude, definitely could have confused them. I'm sure expecting them to be in one stance because I don't remember off the top of my head seeing Belal switch stances like that at all in his fight. So I don't know if it was,
Constant too,
yeah, like
just nonstop.
he would just throw something and then switch right back to opposite stance right after he threw. And I saw something going around. I watched the embedded. I don't know if you saw the picture of Bilal's ankle on the UFC embedded
Oh,
episode. I don't know. It looked like deformed. There was pictures of it, but I mean, he came out looking perfectly fine. So
he
I
threw it
wonder.
over and over again. So
Yeah, he literally did not stop throwing that kick with that left leg. So couldn't have been too bad. Could have had to have just been some. I don't know what it could have been, but nah, his pace and the kicks and the switch stances and his movement, I don't even think he shot a takedown once.
yeah, and with Belal, they asked him in the post-fight press conference. They said, "Hey, you limped off the weigh-ins a little bit. People have been talking about your ankle. What's going on?" And he said, I don't think there's ever a fighter that goes into a fight not hurt a little bit somewhere. It's going to happen because y'all train so hard, But from what everybody was saying, like people were concerned that he was going to pull out of the fight, that the ankle looked that bad.
Yeah, it looked horrible from the picture and the little video I saw. I don't know, it could have just been the camera having an effect on it too, but
yeah,
looks were deceiving.
well, it's probably jacked up now, man, because that thing landed on the the elbow a few times too, and I'm sure that doesn't feel very good. All right, man, that's all we got on the co-main event. We also had Xiaonan versus Jéssica Andrade. What were your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, talk about good movement. Jan, her movement was good. She kept Jéssica confused like the whole time. And then Jéssica made a huge mistake. I just watched another clip of that knockout. She literally ran at Jan. Jan was doing a good job circling out, and Andrade just threw like 3 left hooks at her, and her chin was like this.
Straight up in there.
Yeah, Jan just sat down, countered with a hard overhand, and put her out. You don't often see one-punch knockouts like that in women's fighting, so that was impressive.
Yeah, at 115, right? I believe this was strawweight. Yeah. And I think that's what Jéssica Andrade is really known for, that she's one of the few that does carry that power in that weight class, in that weight division, right? But to see her get dropped by Xiaonan like that, planting that back foot and coming in with that overhand right, was a thing of beauty. And I think Jéssica also knows that there's not too many women in that division that have that one-punch knockout power, which is why she probably thinks like, hey, I am coming wild. I'll just come in, throw in 3 or 4 hooks. If somebody clips me, they clip me, but I'm willing to take one to land one of my hooks. Yeah. And, man, Xiaonan came in with that right overhand from China, dude, and put her straight out. Straight out, deep. Man. It was nice. So she's training with Team Alpha Male now. They also have Song Yadong over there.
Did they have anybody else last night? Faber had a few people last night.
Yeah, I don't know who else they had last night. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but it seems like Team Alpha Male is going international.
They're working with
they're starting to pick up some people from all around.
Yeah.
And I'm old school Team Alpha Male. Like, I love those days of, Chad Mendez and Uriah Faber and all those guys. And I mean, the last one that they really have fighting out of there that's popular is probably Andre Feely. Cody Garbrandt, or he jumped ship to and is bouncing back and forth. But outside of that, I guess it's just Song Yadong. I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah, so
can you?
I think what I was thinking was Sage Northcutt, but that was with one.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else they have in UFC. But yeah, hey, K9, thank you for joining us. It says that was such a good fight. Absolutely, it was a lot of fun. Fast but fun. Fast, but all right. And that was quick. Did you have anything else before we move on that one?
No, just the sitting down on the counter with somebody running at you. They're just adding their weight to a hard punch that's already coming at you. So can't be running in on people with your chin up like that, especially somebody who's a good striker. Yeah.
Hey, knowing Jéssica Andrade and been watching her for years, that's probably not going to change. You know what I mean? That's her one move. That's her staple. Yeah, that's her style.
She says, all right, I'm the tank. I'm coming through.
Until you find somebody like Xiaonan. We also had Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopes. Man, this one was very surprising for me.
That was fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This, in my eyes, was fight of the night. Evloev coming in, I believe he's ranked 10th featherweight in the world, right? And then we have, a couple fights that fell off. So Diego Lopes takes this. And I want to say this was Diego's debut, if I remember correctly.
I think he's coming off Contender Series.
Coming off Contender Series.
Yeah.
They definitely didn't bring him on for having one of the best tattoos in the world. But
what does it even say? Yeah, we were saying that last time, right? Dude, what does that even say?
I think it says something like if you dream it and you could believe it, or something like that. I don't know. It's something very interesting, but
O'Malley might have better tattoos.
Dude, that's a fact, actually. Facts. But yeah, so Evloev, I was expecting Evloev with the experience. Lopes, this being his debut, having that classic adrenaline dump, and I thought Evloev was going to be able to dominate fairly easily. Dude, not that way at all.
Yeah, dude, that being said, I mean, Lopes came in, what is he, 19-5 now, I think, something like that I saw. So,
he's now 21-6 now.
21-6, okay, yeah. Yeah, I knew he had a ton of fights. So he's coming in with a lot of experience too, just not UFC level experience, but man, you got 27 fights. That's a lot of fights under your belt. I think Evloev 17-0 now after that fight.
Yep, 17-0.
He brought in a lot of experience. Yeah, his jiu-jitsu was very slick off the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that really surprised everybody, right? Because one, you see Lopes come out really aggressive that first round, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is smart on Lopes' part because it's a last-minute fight that he took on. He probably knows that he has a lot of adrenaline going right now. He probably wants to end this fight early if possible. So yeah, like empty out some of that gas tank right now and see if you could get Evloev out and maybe surprise him a little bit. And so I was again surprised by how aggressive he was. And then Evloev, started coming back with some of his own shots. But then you have the armbar attempt, which I thought was tight.
It was close. When he first rolled over for it, I was like, dude, that's deep. But then you could see the shorts were scrunched over their arms, but Evloev ever so slightly had his elbow just past the hip line to save himself from getting that elbow extended. But yeah, you can kind of see on the picture right there the elbow's just close to passing the cup of Lopes. So it's getting close to slipping out, and he ended up just popping it out. But
okay,
at the end of the fight, that knee bar, I would have loved to see 10 more seconds. Who knows? Lopes was squeezing for dear life there. 10 more seconds. I don't know. It could have been a different story because that thing was deep.
Yeah. So again, in the second round, you have Evloev takes him down, right? And then starts landing some big ground and pound with elbows, punches. And this is where I thought, okay, this is where, Evloev starts taking over, and the rest of the way it's going to be smooth sailing. And Diego Lopes said, no, my friend. Third round, I think he also gets him in a Kimura, which looked pretty deep also.
Yeah, he rolled
so
out
much
of that
so.
smooth.
Yeah, where he had to roll out of it. So that was another one where I was like, oh, man, that was close yet again. How many times is going to get caught in something like that? And then like you had mentioned, right, the knee bar. How tight did that knee bar look?
Dude, that looked deep. So usually when you have a arm bar, knee bar submission, usually use your cup kind of as a torquing ball point for the torque to bend the ligament past, and that knee was well past. So that thing, if he would have slid the right foot under his right shoulder, you see here how he's screaming. If he would have put and gone over to where the Achilles is under the shoulder there, I think he would have had enough torque to pop that knee. Definitely
you could see him wincing. When he first got it in, you could see him wincing and started trying to adjust as much as he could to alleviate some of the pressure. I thought he had it, man.
Yeah, it was deep. I would have liked to see if he had more time, if he would have made that adjustment, because it did look like he started to push the ankle that way, and then there was a clap, and he was just like, squeezing with everything he had. So would
Oh,
have been
man.
cool to see if he was trying to make those little advancements in the position with a little bit more time. But that was a fun
Yeah.
fight. His stock definitely rose.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man, right? Even with this loss, for him, it was a win-win.
Yeah, short notice, number 10 guy in the world, take him to a decision with having him in deep submissions, having him in trouble in almost pretty much all 3 rounds. I think he had him close and some deep submissions. So
What an upset that would have been, too. Hey, Rich, in the background, while we're going through, can you research to see what his tattoo says, man? Because it's bugging me now. Because looking at this picture, I just see where it says believe. And now I'm really curious. So if you find it, just let us know. But props to Lopes. We'll see who he takes on next in that division. For Evloev, it's tough, right? Because I believe he was supposed to have been fighting Bryce Mitchell too, which would have been a fight up in the division, continue moving up in the ranks. And instead, he faces this person, Diego Lopes, making his debut. And it was a tough fight.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting how that plays out.
All right. We'll move on. We're going to skip Charles Jourdain versus Kron Gracie.
Let's touch on this real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Are you with me? Do you think Kron gets cut after that fight? I think he gets cut.
I think he has one more fight. His Cup Swanson fight was exciting. This fight was on the opposite end of the spectrum, but he also carries the Gracie name. And that's the only reason I think they're going to say, hey, let's give you one more fight, but just a heads up, Kron. If it's another fight like this, like you don't have a home in the UFC. And the one thing that I noted on here, and I was going to actually ask you, the days of being a specialist, dead, right?
Done.
I mean, I guess it was already kind of safe to say here before, but this is just another reminder. Like we saw, some of, the old school specialists be able to make it for quite some time in the UFC. But these days, like you have somebody like Charles Jourdain, who is most known for his striking, also a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but most known for his striking. And we saw how he was able to game plan and just stick to that game plan for 3 rounds against Kron Gracie and really dominated the entire fight.
Yeah. Like the reason I say he gets cut is he's playing that personality. Like I'm not gonna do the media and all this stuff is done. Like you can't act like that and then go out there and start like butt scooting and trying to play guard game and stuff like that.
A little different if you're Nate Diaz and you're like, I don't really want to do the media, and then you come in and you have exciting fights.
Yeah, and you're like exciting. But yeah, you can't. The specialist days are done because then like you got Jourdain. He was well rounded, crisp striking, and had the takedown defense and the not really submission defense, but weariness to get out of the guard of Kron whenever he trapped him in there and tried to hold him.
Yeah, and it was just like very like basic entries, like he would just put his head down with a high guard and just continue eating a couple shots and reach over to try to grab. And literally Charles Jourdain, like a little kid, would put his hand on his forehead and shove him back and then just take a couple steps back. And I was like, well, that was easy for Charles, like, I don't know what's going on, but I guess the last like good specialist that we saw, Damian Maia, and even him, like around the end of his career, he started, dying down, and then Mackenzie Dern, maybe, but we've seen some people exploit, her opportunities in striking. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it's tough to be a specialist nowadays.
It is.
Games evolve so much. Like that kind of touches on was it a comment that we just touched on, the takedown defense and people getting up off their backs and stuff?
Oh yeah.
It just touches on like full circle with that one. The games evolve so much, people work on that. People are so well-rounded nowadays. You have to be to make it in this game now. So,
for sure, that comment was from CMT Fluxicity. Thank you, Rich, for finding this. It says, "Dream, believe, and make it happen." I mean, that's a very inspirational thing, I guess.
Good inspiration, tough delivery on the.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the other day that I picked my son up from school, I saw that on the kindergarten wall. You know what I mean? So he probably just copied it from that quote. All right. Last fight we're going to cover from UFC 288. Matt Frevola versus Drew Dober. I love watching both of these guys fight. No matter who they're fighting, it's going to be a banger. So when I saw this fight, I was like, dude, props to the matchmakers. Sean Shelby, this was an absolute banger, and it didn't disappoint. Drew Dober with one of the best jaw lines in the business coming in.
Jaw lines and jaw. That dude can take
straight up, man. Straight up.
He didn't last night, but usually he can.
Steamroller Frevola, man. So very similar to Jessica Andrade with better technique, but just pressure. No matter what, I'm coming forward. I'm going to eat a shot, but I'm going to deliver one of mine. And, Frevola did such a good job with his counters. He was teeing off on him, man. With every entry Drew had, he would throw something and his hands would dip down a little bit, and he would just launch, a 2 or 3 punch combo right after that.
Yeah. I think I'll go back and break this one down too. Starting out, I believe Frevola was throwing like a lot of those right hooks at Dober, and Dober had his hand high blocking it, unlike what he has right here in this picture. He had it high up blocking, and Frevola started going to the body with punches and kicks. And he kind of dropped his hands a little bit, got him baiting down there. So when he sat in the pocket here, I think he sat down on the counter right here, and that's what he caught him with. I don't know if he blocked the kick or not, but I know this was a counter hook, and it was on the money with some steam behind it.
Oh, for sure, man. And again, he was already pretty cut up. Yeah, steamroller Frevola, bro. But he was already cut up at that point, right? And that picture right there was the very last right hook that landed before the fight was stopped. So you're saying this was all from deposits to the body?
Yeah, and it looked like he was digging into that body and got him to start dropping his hands. So that was a good power and good fight IQ move by Frevola there.
Nice, man. So we'll see what happens. Drew Dober, I think, had just cracked into the top 15 or top 14 since his last fight. Not sure if he'll be falling out of that, but we got to see Matt Steamroller Frevola. It just rolls, dude, whenever you say it together like that.
It does roll.
Yeah. But you might see him cracking the top 15 now, which I think would be much deserved, climbing to 11-3 now. He's calling out Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Baddie.
Yeah, I think he runs through him.
I was going to say, Paddy doesn't want that right now, man. And I don't think the UFC wants that right now.
Yeah, I don't know what Paddy. I don't know what they're going to do with Paddy. They can't. I think he's too old and has too many fights to be like protected for too much longer. So
yeah, it was different with Sean O'Malley, right? And like we see Sean O'Malley taking steps down.
But O'Malley got into the UFC when he was like, what, 21, 22, 23, something like that. He was still a kid, like you got an exciting prospect on your hands. All right, well, he came in off the Contender Series. He probably had 7-8 fights. All right, this kid has a future. We're going to give him, test him. Nothing too crazy, and they played him smart. Now he's put himself in a position. He did everything he needed to do. He won how he was supposed to and won the fights that they presented to him. But now with Paddy, I'm pretty sure Paddy was even offered like the UFC multiple times when he was with Cage Warriors, but he declined, saying he wanted more experience. I don't know if that's 100%, but I do remember hearing that. And if you're going to do that and you come into the fights with 18, 19 wins, I think he has, you got to be coming in and being like, all right, I'm 2, 3, 4 fights away from getting to a title shot.
Yeah. No, and the thing with we're talking about Sean O'Malley and comparing it a little bit, and you're absolutely right. It was a lot younger, but you could also see him stepping up in levels continuously, right? And you could see him living up to the hype, and taking people out in the first round, landing that straight right, and even against Chris Montano when he didn't finish him, but it was just such a dominant performance. That fight probably should have been stopped a lot earlier, honestly, but he did what he was supposed to do in dominant fashion. With Paddy, like you said, even against his last fight against Jared Gordon, you're like,
he lost.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. So let's see here. What's Paddy's record now?
Yo, I gotta grab a charger for the laptop real quick. Give me 2 seconds.
It's not a problem. So taking a look at this, we have Paddy's gone on a 1, 2, 3, 4 fight win streak. in the UFC, the names Luigi Vendramini, Rodrigo Vargas, Jordan Levitt, and Jared Gordon. Again, last fight was really, really close, but yeah, the struggle's real. All right. So we'll move on to the next one here. And actually, after this, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're going over to one now, covering one. Since we had one Fight Night 10 that went down Friday night. Man, just what a weekend of fights. And this was the first event on U.S. soil for one FC. This was a big night. Oh, look at the background change and everything, the color. Rich is on it. But yeah, so again, that's why Will's not here right now. Will went to go watch this event. Your boy Will is becoming well known in the ONE FC world. He has connections now within the organization. He met up with some of the big wigs over there while he was over there. So Will's starting to become a big deal in ONE FC. Yeah, I just hope he doesn't remember us little guys. I'm over here with Rich. But yeah, we'll see what comes of it. But he was super excited, man. He posting a bunch of stuff on social media. Rich, do you want to
look fun?
Yeah, Rich, do you want to share some of the post right now? Or did you want to wait till after? It's completely up to you. But
no, let's do his post right now. I got Will's queued right up, so here it comes.
All right, let's do it. And we'll just see what Will had to share. So this is, I think, during the introductions in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Rodtang.
Yeah. This is, Rodtang's walkout. On to the next one, Rich. And this was him. He was super close over here. But this is straight from Will's phone, too. Right next to Stamp Fairtex as she's celebrating Mikey Mufsamechi's win. So it looked like he had a really good time, man. Props to you, Will. I'm glad that you had a good time over there, man. It's well-deserved. But it seemed like he had a blast. Main event, we had Demetrious Johnson versus Adriano Moraes. What were your thoughts on that one there?
Dude, not a very entertaining fight, but just high-level clinch work from DJ. Man, his knees and elbows and fighting inside the clinch was just, I mean, he did what he needed to do to win, and it was smooth how he worked in there, especially against such a big guy like Moraes.
Yeah, and I think that's
got himself 2 checks.
Moraes, he's massive for that weight division. Massive. Dude. Huge difference between him and DJ. Here's DJ eating another knee that night, and that probably was the cleanest shot that Moraes had landed all night. But I was really drawn into by the mummy guard that DJ was using a lot to close the distance. Like he was just walking in, and then just clinch onto something really quickly. And Moraes was allowing it a lot of times, right? I thought maybe he'd be able to use some lateral footwork to get out of there before DJ would be able to clinch him. But, was there anything else that you thought was pretty surprising watching this?
It was surprising that later in the fight, I remember it looked like even he was willing to want to clinch. Moraes was like, he wouldn't shy away from it. He would go into it, and then he was just taking some knees to the body that I was just like, you keep getting hit with these, you gotta go for broke at this point.
Yeah, and Will says, shout out Mihoko, Valentina, and Ty from ONE. Coolest people in the world. This event was seriously insane in person. Yeah, that's awesome, Will. That's awesome. Hey, next time
he's having a hell of a time. So
get us some press passes next time, bro. What are you doing? Just LSK.
Get some stories. Get the whole crew out there.
Yeah, dude, come on. What are we doing, Will? But no, I still, like you said, maybe not the most entertaining in the world. Very technical fight from both of them. And I mean, you wouldn't expect anything else. Moraes has proven that he's one of the best in the world. DJ, some people consider him the GOAT. Where's DJ ranked for you?
Dude, DJ's up there. That was it's a hard list right here. You got to put him top 3.
Top 3? I'm
I feel
guessing
like
you got
you have
John
to
Jones
leave-
up there somewhere too.
Yeah, John. All right, are we going off? We're going off just fighting. No, we're not taking any PR into account for this one. We're just going just fighting skill.
Strictly fighting, no cocaine usage, no strip clubs, nothing like that. So John Jones is still in it.
I think John Jones won. I mean, you just look at the guys that he took out, let alone and his age at the time that he took them out on the way to getting the title. They were almost all of them legends.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Being Shogun for the title at such a young age.
Shouldn't have a loss on his record.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say him. DJ maybe 2, and then GSP.
Oh, there we go. Hey, that's a good list. Yeah, CMT Fluxicity asked earlier, top 10 most well-rounded fighters. Look, that's a whole other episode that we could do, and break it down.
We can do an hour just on that, maybe.
Exactly. But we'll keep it right here to just the 3 that Landry just named off. But that's a good list in my eyes, man. All right, we can move on to the co-main event. This is where it started getting really exciting, or leading up to the Rodtang Jitmuangnon fight. But we had Rodtang versus Edgar Juarez Tabares going into this fight. Look, Edgar Juarez Tabares, he's got some WBC titles, but you see the name come up against Rodtang, and you're in your head probably thinking like, okay, this should be a showcase for Rodtang, for a lot of U.S. fans that haven't heard of him before, that haven't seen him fight. They're putting him out in front of the entire U.S. to see now. This is a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
For Rodtang, that is.
Dude, who do you got to put in front of Rodtang to make him not walk somebody down?
It's insane. It really is, man. This guy's a machine. This is probably what Jéssica Andrade wants to be able to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take a kick to the head and just shake it off.
Jéssica Andrade probably watches his tape and is like, I can do that.
Didn't work out very well. The thing is that, okay, Edgar Juarez Tabares comes in. Again, it's not like he's some slouch out there, right? He's got some WBC titles in Muay Thai. He had that nice little spinning back elbow. So he would throw a body kick. Rodtang would catch it. And when he'd release, Rodtang would try to throw a right hook.
Yep.
And then Edgar would come in with that spinning back elbow trying to catch him. But he went to the same move.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, went to it way too many times. Can't do that against the guy with the experience and IQ of Rodtang.
No. And it was really easy for him after that.
Yeah. I mean, like how he knocked him out, obviously, as you just alluded to, was the picking up on that. He blocked that elbow, clinched him, and dude, just elbow right over top on the money.
Yeah, and when Edgar was coming in with that spinning back elbow, he would be able to take a couple steps back and get out of range real quick. But on that one, he does the spinning back elbow. Rodtang just reaches over, like you said, grabs him behind the neck, and just comes forward with that elbow. And it was like on the bottom of the chin, right?
Dude, I don't know. I didn't see exactly where it landed. I couldn't tell if it was chin or like temple, but either way, it flatlined him. It landed.
It was on his head, somewhere on his head for sure.
Yeah.
He was out.
Put him out.
And again, I'm so happy that he got some of the limelight over here in the U.S. I think it's well deserved. And Chaudhry loves this guy. Just throws 100K his way.
Yeah.
Dude, Dana White was sweating, man, when he's seeing all these bonuses just being tossed out left and right. He was like, ugh. I hope not too many people are watching this.
It was like, you get 50K, you get 100K, you get 50K.
Yeah, dude, left and right, man. And so a couple things with one. I've told Will this before, and I don't know how you feel about it, but the way that they go through and they introduce the fighters from the main card in the very beginning, everybody comes out on the main stage. They introduce them one by one. I love that. And then the fact that they call out bonuses during the post-fight interview, I absolutely love as well.
Yeah, that is cool. It's cool because when you get you get the reactions too. Like you don't have to see like a social media clip. Like my boy Evan Elder, I don't know if you saw his last fight, but he got fight of the night. And he didn't, he found out by one of our teammates who was helping corner him, walking up to him in the hotel, video. I'm like, yo, you just got 50K fight of the night bonus. And he was just like, what? Like, you're
man.
you're screwing with me. But you get like reactions like that in the octagon for all the fans to see, in that moment. That's cool.
Yeah, Dana, take some notes, bro. Come on. But yeah, great fight. Again, Rodtang had his opportunity to be showcased. Before that, we also had another big name coming out of Thailand. We had Stamp Fairtex. Dude, I'm a big fan. Now, I'm sorry. Let me let everybody know. We're skipping Mikey Musumeci. Props to Mikey. That guy will grab onto anything possible and just find a way, whether it's a leg or, in this case, a rear naked choke. But another great performance. But we'll stick to the MMA for now. We had Stamp Fairtex versus Alyse Anderson. What were your thoughts?
It was a fun fight. I haven't seen Stamp Fairtex. I don't know how many MMA fights she had. I had figured this was going to be a Muay Thai fight just based on her last name, but I've only seen clips of her and her personality. Dancing to the cage, doing like all her fun videos. She has a very infectious personality. She's fun. Like, she draws you in just by her being who she is. But it was cool to see her dog it out in a fight, and she had great striking. Got into some scrambles where I was like, oh, the scramble is the ground going to be somewhere she lacks, but she actually took advantage. Almost even got the back fighting. So
yeah, I know. That was sweet.
That knockout finish she had, that was a very slick setup.
It was, man. And like you were talking about the takedown, using Alyse Anderson's momentum, right, to end up on top, still being able to transition and take the back. She had said, that she wanted to showcase what she'd be able to do with jiu-jitsu too. Not just that, but they're like, hey, what if Alyse Anderson tries to take you down? She's like, well, then, I'll just feed her a couple knees real quick. Like, she's not scared of the takedown. She's not worried about going down to the ground, which is something I love about Stamp. Doesn't mean that she's an absolute world beater down there, but still, she's willing to fight on the ground too. Yeah. But Rich, you have the video of the finish, right? And shout out One for giving us permission to show this as well. If you could play it, Rich.
You have a little bit of a clench on the cage.
What was that?
I was just saying, if he had the little 3 seconds before that, the little clinch work on the cage, she just slipped in some really good knees with no space with her back on the cage, and that kind of made Anderson turn a little bit, and then she ripped a left knee and right off of it through that right body kick. It was real smooth.
Awesome setup.
Full lower body combo. No punches were involved.
With these Muay Thai fighters, right, where they've been fighting Muay Thai in some cases since they were 7, 8 years old, and their ability to land those knees from any position is super impressive. And not just that, but be able to generate an immense amount of power. And the way that they're able to bring it up and dig in is super impressive, man. So another one where Stamp is pretty big outside of the U.S. For anybody that watches One, they know of Stamp already, super popular. But for anybody that hasn't and took the opportunity of One being here in the U.S., another fighter that was showcased for One FC. You said you hadn't really watched Stamp that much before?
No, I hadn't. Just seen the Instagram clips that go around of her being crazy.
Dude, you got to watch her more, man. And me recently, I just started watching One a lot more now because of Will. Will is a fight degenerate, okay? Yeah. He will watch any fight, anywhere, no matter what the organization. So he puts me in on all these different fighters that he's seeing, very much like I had told him about you, right? When I was over here at XKO, and I was like, dude, you got to watch this guy, Landry. Now he does this with organizations from all over the world. Your boy here is more, U.S. based. Will's international. Yeah. He'll find people from all over the world, but she's such an exciting fighter, man. Definitely somebody that you should have on your radar going forward. And then we'll cover the last couple fights right here. We're reaching an hour. Sage Northcutt versus Ahmed Mujtaba. Did you watch this one?
Yeah, it did. I mean, you could have watched like a Instagram reel of this one. That was a quick finish. Nah, dude,
Actually, you're right.
Sage coming back after such a crazy injury is pretty wild. Props to him for getting back to it. Yeah, 4 years after having facial reconstruction surgery, I'm guessing.
Yeah, his face was
Pretty
broken
wild.
in like so many different pieces, his orbital bone, and man, it
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Cosmo Alexander's a bad man. But
He is, dude.
yeah, for him to come back and even fight after such a serious injury, props to him for doing that. Little scary that, he got dropped with a jab, and that's what set up his finish on the ground.
Rich saying this dude is built like Ivan Drago. Yeah, he is actually.
Yeah,
He's solid, man.
You can see every little muscle fiber that he has.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But with Sage, you wonder what did he do in those 4 years? Because he was kind of out of the limelight, like he wasn't really posting a bunch of training or doing things like that. But he must have been working. And you mentioned, Team Alpha Male, Sage Northcutt earlier. And those guys are really known for their grappling over there, their wrestling, their jiu-jitsu. And he got to showcase some of that.
Yeah.
On Friday night.
Hey, his opponent, he just made a little mistake. He was trying to rush too much. He had a dominant position, but he was really trying to rush, like getting to a ground and pound. And he made his hips loose for like 3 seconds, and Sage immediately took advantage of it. Slid under there.
And finished it quickly.
Yeah, slid under there, laced the leg around, and as soon as he rolled, he locked onto that heel. So yeah,
that was pretty disgusting. But I just remember from last time that I saw Sage Northcutt to, like, they put the fighters' pictures up there and they tail the tape. And I was like, oh, man, he has peach fuzz now. He's all grown up, and what really solidified it for me was like he doesn't call Uriah Faber Mr. Faber anymore. He calls me Uriah, and I was like, oh, dude, he's all grown up now, man.
He's all grown up. He's
all grown up.
He's out of school.
Yeah, exactly. All right, in the last fight we're going to cover, Aung and Song versus Rong Fan. Now, you've been training with Aung, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were probably pretty excited watching this then.
Oh, yeah. Such a good dude. Yeah, such a good dude. I mean, he's done everything you can do in the sport, and he still shows up day in and day out doing training and living like he's, just started in the sport. So he's along with Gilbert, man, just two really high-level human beings, and they set good examples for everybody. So it's good, love to see them doing their thing. Tough day for Gilbert, but all in all, good things are going on with his life. So it's good to see these two doing good, and it's fun to see this fight.
Awesome, man. With Rong Fan, he surprised me a little bit because I felt like Aung was going to be able to come in here and just dominate from the beginning, and he had some nice head movement, man, throwing a lot of combos. But Aung had this left hook that landed a few times, and I mean, for every 2 or 3 shots that Fan landed, I felt like one shot of Aung was carrying more, if not just as much power as those combos.
Yeah, dude. Fawn had his movement was really good. I think it was even throwing Aung off a little bit, and Aung was just trusting in his power. Every time he threw, he sat down hard in it and stayed in there. I think that's why Fawn was having some success with the counters. But
and then, dude, the post-fight interview, man, from Aung, so good. Did you get to see it?
Yeah. I might have to hear it again. I just remember
he just said, I'm just a guy from Myanmar. The American dream is alive and well. God bless America.
Yes.
And I was like, God damn it. That is fantastic. Dude, I was so pumped after that. And I absolutely fell in love even more with Aung, man.
Yeah, dude, that's 3 different people who were just saying, like Chatri, the owner. I remember before the fight, he was saying, like, I was a kid with nothing. The American dream is alive. And then I think Rodtang alluded to that too. I don't know if he directly said the American dream is alive, but he was like, I was a poor kid with no money. I can't believe I'm I can't believe I'm here. I don't know if he said anything about the American dream, but same thing.
It's just good to see, man.
Sometimes nobody loves America more than the immigrants, you know, like
well, the people that have gone outside of America and seen how it could be. But you're absolutely right.
But yeah, along with like him doing everything in the world, like he is an absolute superstar where he's from, like, and he's just one of the most nice and humble human beings you'll meet. And my first day that I ever went to Kill Cliff, it was Sanford then. And he was the first one to say, "What's up?" And I start having a conversation with you. So like,
good,
really good dude. Always good to see him having success.
Awesome, man. And you know, we didn't allude to it, but he had that modified guillotine at the end that finished it against Fawn. You know, and it seemed really tight, and just a minor adjustment where he went through and just hooked that left leg so that Fawn couldn't make any adjustments himself. Oh, dude, it was beautiful, man.
Yeah, dude,
so good.
Like Fawn was deep on that takedown, and Aung was just able to slide his hips slightly back and make room for his right arm to just fall under the chin, or left arm to fall under the chin and lock that up. So that was high level
Beautiful
stuff.
Finish. Beautiful finish. You know, just a quick mention, we also had Kadastan versus Soldic, which was a pretty big upset. Kadastan just landed major shots on Soldic and put him out. You know, and Will, again, being somebody that's huge into one, was just letting me know how big of an upset that is. And he seems so nonchalant. I don't know if you ended up watching that fight or not, but they're going through and interviewing him afterwards, and he's just like, "Yeah, that's what I do. I like to fight." You know, it was so like whatever, like just another day at work, you know. But that was it, man. That was all the fights we had listed. Those were all the fights we had listed for one. I know there's a lot more fights for both UFC 288 and one, but there's just so much going on. We can't cover them all. And that's it. I did have a couple more questions for you, LSK. Landry, before you go.
Always ready for the games when I come on here.
Yeah, man, you got to be, you know. And the thing is, look, this one's not going to go as deep. You know, I didn't dig into your history and reach out to friends and family. But just ask some questions. Since you're coming out of Killcliff FC, I'm not going to put you on blast or have you put anybody else on blast, really, you know, and get you in trouble. But I have some questions here. Some questions. Are you ready? Who's most likely in the gym to call you to go party?
Most likely to call to go party. Oh, this is a good one. Let's see. Man, I'm trying to maybe Mitch or Richie.
Mitch or Richie.
Or Richie Lewis.
Okay. Most likely to bail you out of jail if you were to call him.
Ooh, it's bail out of jail. Evan Elder.
Evan Elder?
Nicest guy in the gym.
Really?
Yeah, he's up there competing. He'll give the shirt off his back. But where are you at, buddy? I'm there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Would it matter? Like what you were in jail for? Or would you just be like, yeah, I'll be right there?
I don't even think he would ask.
Oh, man, what a nice guy. All right. Most likely to have the entire gym laughing.
Oh, man. Damn, that's a good one. Michael Johnson's up there. Damn. Who else are we going to throw in there? I think off the top, I'm going to say Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson? Okay. Most likely to get in a bar fight if you were to go out with him.
Man.
These are tough, huh?
Yeah, this is a very tough one. I'm trying to think who's the most like outside of the gym would just be like, all right, yeah, let's go. Damn, bar fight. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know if I can pick someone for this one.
All right, no worries, man. We can come back to it later if you want to, or we can hold it for another time.
Yeah. I can't think of the bar fight one. Usually most of the people they're all just chill. Like if they're going out to a bar, they're just going to like chill and have a good time. Nobody's like, you know, we fight. Yeah. We'll all get paid to fight. No one's like, let's go get drunk and beat the shit out of somebody.
I think that's the case with most fighters, right? Yeah. Where if they know how to fight and they're professional fighters.
I'm trying to think of the shortest tempered one.
That's a tough one.
Might be MJ too. MJ, Michael Johnson, he at least when he's with his boys, they're talking shit. He gets a little upset quickly.
All right. Most likely to answer a call late at night. If you were to say, yeah, or just most likely to answer, like if I were to say, okay, Landry, $1 million right now, whoever you call has to answer the phone, who would it be?
Can we go? We going coaches too, or all fighters?
No, you know what? We can go coaches.
We're going coaches. I'm going Dieter.
Dieter, okay. Okay, that's a solid answer. I mean, y'all been together for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Right on.
That's my guy. That's my right hand man. So no matter what, he'll be there for it. And yeah,
nice.
Now we're both. He's coaching at Killcliff, and I'm fighting out of there. So it's been a fun little journey.
And then the last one: who is most likely to cheat on a board game?
Cheat on a board game, dude. Man, are you getting caught? Are you getting caught cheating? Or you just doing? You're just trying to get the win. I might cheat.
Just trying to get the W. The competitive spirit, man. That was it. Those were the only questions I had for you. Like I said, it wasn't going to be anything crazy like the last couple of games we had for you. But man, Landry, I can't thank you enough for answering the call, hopping on, helping co-host on a weekend that Will was out of town. And of course, you know that you are always welcome back on the podcast, man.
Dude, yeah, always. You ever need a co-host, I'm here. Just give me the call. I'll be on. This was fun.
I appreciate you,
man.
I
have to start my own podcast too. This was fun.
Do it, man. Do it. And hey, let's call Dieter right now. No, I'm just kidding. But you'd be like, what the hell are you doing?
We can if you want. We'll put him on.
No, I'm just messing with you, bro. But hey, again, thank you so much. For all you listeners, if this is your first time watching or listening, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, goes a long way. Don't forget to follow Landry Ward, YouTube, Instagram at Lone Star Kid, and then also LoneStarKid.com for all the gear. I mean, I'm sporting one of the LSK hats right now. He has the Lone Star Kid polo on. Those are some more. Is that burnt orange back there I see?
So this one's burnt orange. Let's see. We'll go through them. Got burnt orange, black rope, white logo. Then we got some trucker cap.
Nice. Dude, Bryce Mitchell would love that one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's just that's a nice one there too, man.
Then last one we got is all red. Old Maga style
hat. I love it. Well, hey, thanks again, LSK. And then just for, so everybody knows, this podcast right here is produced by Richard Bustos. And thanks for everybody for listening. Hey, the special.